Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we are going to be working on a slightly different type of album. This is actually a ring binder system. It uses this to hold the pages. So this is how it looks. Over here we have a little turnable mat with a magnetic closure here. And then this is a couple flaps with a waterfall in the center. These two are the same. They are little flaps, little mat flaps. Got two flaps with a pocket, and then this is a pocket, and then this extends out. We have a belly band with a magnetic mat here, and then a magnetic flap. Sorry if you hear some scratching in the background, it's my little dog. These two pages are the same again. We have little magnetic flaps that hold these little flaps down. And they're in the center of the page. There's a reason why you don't want anything at the edge of your page, because you're going to be punching holes here. So you want to make sure that anything you put is, I would say, probably 1.5 inches away from the edge, at least. And then this got a little belly band here. You flip it open, and it's a 4-piece mat. And in the back, we have 2 pockets. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping to make this a 2-parter. The album cover, or the inside album cover, and then the pages. So I have my album cover already made, and everything except for the inside front cover is covered up with pattern paper. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the pattern or the pieces to the front and back covers, and then we can glue our little mechanism here. And I will put a link below, or maybe 2 down below, for you to get one of these. Or they come in a pack of 2. But I will have a link below for you to get them if you want to do this album. So the front inside cover and back inside cover, you're going to need these pieces. 1 2 by 7 1/4, 1 3 1/2 by 7 1/4, 1 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, 1 5 by 7, 2, sorry, 2 5 1/4 by 6 3/4, 2 1 1/2 by 6, and 1 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. So you want your scoreboards out, and for both pieces, both 1 1/2 by 6 inch pieces, you want the 6 inches on the top, and you're going to score each of them at 1/2 inch. For your two 6 3/4 by 5 1/4 pieces, you want it on the 5 1/4 side, and again, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Your 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, 5 by 7, and 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 are not going to get scored. The 3 1/2 by 7 1/4, starting with the 7 1/4 inches at the top, we are going to score at 1/2, turn, 1/2, turn, and 1/2. And then on your 2 by 7 1/4, you want to score with the 7 1/4 at the top, you want to score at 1/2 and 6 3/4. And then you want to turn it around to the 2 inches, and you want to score at 1/2 just to the edge of your 1/2 inch mark, and then flip it around and 1/2 inch again, so that you have 2 1/2 inch marks that are on the same side. So for our 2 by 7 1/4, we're going to fold and burnish on our 1/2 inch score marks, and then we're going to take our scissors, and let me check really quick. Yes, you want to cut straight across your score mark that you made, and then angle out from below it. So cut straight across on your score mark and then cut down. So then you should have a 1/2 inch tab on both sides, and then a large angle cut down below. So it looks like this. Your 3 1/2 by 7 1/4, you're going to fold and burnish on all of our sides. Oh, I almost forgot. Got my little jar here. We need to miter the top 2 corners as well of our 2 by 7 1/4. For our pocket, we want to miter the top 2 corners, and then we are going to cut out the bottom 2 squares. Like that. And then for our other 4 pieces that we scored, I'm just going to fold, burnish, and miter the corners. I'm going to finish this really quick and then we will be back to do the next step. So I'm going to start with the 2 pockets in the back, and I cut out a piece of my pattern paper because the way that the pockets in the back is done, I find it easier to add pattern paper to the 2 by 7/4 first before putting it in. So I'm going to do that really quick. And there is going to be a little bit hanging off the edges, and that is kind of what you want to happen, which is why I'm putting it on now, because then you're just going to cut off the paper that's over the edges. So it looks like this. So now we're going to grab our cover, and we're going to start with the 3 1/2 by 7/4. Yes, 3 1/2 by 7/4. So our chipboard cover is 6 3/4, and our pocket is 6 1/4. So that's 1/2 inch top and bottom, and then also 1/2 inch from the side. So starting with the bottom piece, I'm going to grab a ruler here really quick so that I can get this centered as best I can. That looks good enough. And if you wanted to, you could put some tape on the edge of your, or on the bottom tab of your pocket. So we're just going to glue the 2 sides down. And then we want our 2 by 7/4. And you want to put glue on both of your tabs. Making sure not to go over the tabs. And then we're going to carefully slide this in, and you want your pocket to hit the top of your bottom pocket at the place where you cut your 2-inch pocket tabs, just like that. For the front cover, we want the two 6 3/4 by 5 1/4 pieces. Maybe. And these are going to go on the top and the bottom, as centered as you can get them. No, on the sides, sorry. These are going to go on the sides. So one is going to go right along the edge of the chipboard, just like this. And then your second one is going to go right along the score mark, and you want to make sure to not go over your score mark. You'll be able to close it. And then we are going to take our 1 1/2 by 6 inch pieces. And these are going to go right on top of our flaps in the center, or eyeballed in the center if you want. I'm going to center mine. And sometimes it's just easier for me to use my mat. Okay, so now you want to cover some of these parts with paper. You want to cover the inside of the flaps, or the base of the chipboard. You want to cover the front of this, and you want to cover the back of your 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. So I'm going to cover these 3 pieces, and then we will be back to do the next part. So now that we have paper on those 3 spots, the first thing we're going to do is attach this to our flap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this on here as best as I can. And that looks pretty good that way, maybe. Yeah, that looks right that way. And then we have this way. And my brain isn't working right now, which is always lovely. I think that's right. Yep, it's pretty centered. Okay, so now I'm going to take a utensil, if I can find one. And then I'm just going to mark on my 2 flaps the corners of my mat. I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and kind of measure where I should go with the marks on this mat. And then take my mat again, make sure it's going the right way, because I'm using directional paper. And I'm just going to line it up with my marks that I made, just like that. So now we have a mat on our belly band here, well, our full belly band, and now we're going to add some magnets. So I want one right about here on my other little belly band flap right here. I'm going to use double-sided adhesive to stick it down. Then I'm going to close this and put this right on top of my mat, on the front of my mat, just like this. And then stick that magnet down. Now I'm going to open this up, and we want our 5x7 and our 2.5 by 2.5. So first, you want to find the center of your 2.5 by 2.5. And then we're going to take a poke tool. I'm gonna scooch you down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So I have my poke tool here, and then I'm just going to poke on my center mark. And I'm going to take my 5x7 and I'm going to find the center of this one. And again, I'm going to take my poke tool and poke it. Gonna poke a hole in it, right where I put my mark. Now I'm going to grab a little brad and I like putting my brad head down, legs up, so that the head part, which is bulkier, isn't as visible. So it went through my 2.5 by 2.5 piece, and now I'm going to put it through my 5 by 7 piece. There we go, just like that. Then I'm just going to flatten the 2 legs out, just like that. So then these 2 pieces are connected by a brad. And I have the flat part in the front of my 5 by 7. Now, I want to add a magnet. Or, well, a couple magnets. Going to grab a pencil so that after this is done, I can erase my marks. Going to find the center of my chipboard here. And then I'm going to line up my mat and make small marks where it would go. When it's flat like this, okay? Okay, so I have my marks, and now I can add my magnets. So with this, I'm going to add 3 magnets. And I probably should have done this before putting my pattern paper on, but we're just gonna move past that. Not gonna worry about that. I want the magnet on my pattern paper to be, or on my mat, to be over here. So actually I'm going to put it right there, and I'm just going to use some double-sided adhesive, and it's going to be on the front of my mat, so my pattern paper will cover it up. And really quick, I'm also going to put some right over my bread prongs. Okay, so my second one, I want right on top. So I am going to line up all my marks that I have as best I can. And then I'm just going to press it down. Now, if I hold this down like this and move it around, gonna scoot this over just a little bit, I think. Just so that this isn't visible. When I turn it around. So I'm going to try very carefully to remove my top magnet and just move it over to where my bottom magnet is. There we go. That way it's not visible. And then I'm going to grab my third one and I'm gonna do a little magic here. So have this one right here and then just hold this, turn it around, making it kind of straight, and then stick it down. So then it should go right there, and then when you turn it, it should just magnetize to that one. Now I'm going to cover this up really quick. I'm just gonna use some of my cardstock here. And no one's gonna notice because I put it in a place that no one will see. But if you really wanted to, you could cover it up or put these on before you put your pattern paper on, but I don't really care. So then we're just going to put glue on our 2.5 by 2.5. Let's straighten this out a little bit, and then we can stick this on, get it centered, and there you go. And I will go back and erase my marks later. Now to put on our little mechanism here, it needs to be 1.5 inches from the score mark, or not the score mark, the spine. That's what it's called. 1.5 inches from the spine. So I'm just gonna lay my ruler down. get it centered as best I can. And gonna put some glue on here. I would test this out to see if normal glue would work or if you would need stronger glue. I am just gonna be using so I just added a 4x6 piece here, and I'm going to redo this. Should be I believe it should be 3/4 of an inch. Mine came off. I need to reattach it, but yes, it should be 3/4 of an inch. I don't know why I put 1/2 inches. That's wrong. I used a different glue for my prototype. So I'll just have to go back and possibly find another glue that'll work. So just stick that down, and you want the bulkier side to be next to the spine so that it opens like this. So just let this dry for a bit. I'd probably say like 24 to 48 hours to 1 or 2 days before you try putting your pages in. But also you might want to test it to see if it stays on. So yeah. In our next video, we will be working on the pages. So I won't be adding pages into it until the very end. I might do a little snippet at the end after I get my mechanism good and sturdy with a glue that actually works really well to get it stuck. And then I'll show how it looks and everything, and how to put the pages in and all that. So there is the front and back inside cover done. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more fun videos, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.